Hey folks, you got a minute to talk about mental health and an acoustic neuroma? Specifically, a little bit about my experience and my opinions based on my experience and what I think could be one of the most important doctors you're gonna need out of the list of the many doctors one may need when facing this stupid tumor, an acoustic neuroma. Need to make it clear, I am not a doctor, and if you are experiencing anything that I'm chit-chatting about here today, do talk to a medical professional. You see, I say this because me personally, it took me years to learn that taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. In my own defense, I spent the first 30 years of my life living in a country where that was not always possible. It was not always possible to get medical help because maybe I didn't have health insurance and I couldn't afford to go to a doctor. And if I took a day off of work, I would not get paid. I would lose money. So I spent the first 30 years of my life kind of not being able to take care of myself. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Well, this is where I should explain. If you're new here, I'm just some American that moved to Germany in 2001. And in 2017, I found out I had a tumor in my head. I babble about these things here. Welcome. If you're curious, I try to sort out the various themes and topics by playlists on my channel. All the rest of you, my returning viewers, my subscribers, my beloved members, welcome back. As usual, I am looking really forward to reading the comments and hearing your opinions and your experiences with any of the little things I'm talking about here today. I can't say it enough. I love how much I learn in my comments. And the topic I picked out today, I feel like it's just something people should talk about because there are people that have a hard time talking about it. I'm one of them. And perhaps the more that we talk about things like mental health, the more that people that have a hard time talking about it will feel more comfortable talking about it, and it could help a few people. Side note real quick to my members, I'm working on something for you. Should be done this week or next week, like a photo montage, maybe some of my baby photos. So watch out for that in the members only section. If you too want to join my cult, become a member and support my channel, click the join button. Join us. Let's get into this. So, an acoustic neuroma, also known as a vestibular sonoma, is a rare tumor that only hits approximately 1 in 100,000 people each year. It is a slow-growing tumor that grows on the nerve that transfers data to your brain. And the first symptoms one may experience when this tumor is growing in there are things like hearing loss, ringing in the ear, facial numbness, unsteadiness, dizziness, full-on vertigo, and facial numbness. But it's a slow-growing tumor, and its placement and all the things it begins to press upon cause these symptoms. But each person is different, and each tumor grows a little bit differently. I also should clarify, this is not cancerous. Pretty much it's a freak tumor that just happens. So that long list of symptoms, yeah, I had and have all of them. And I'm sure you can imagine with the variety of symptoms and issues there, the variety of doctors that you need. You need to see a neurologist because it's near your brain or touching your brain. Mine was touching the cerebellum. You need an ear, nose, and throat doctor because it's technically like mine grew there. It destroyed all of the hearing stuff. Quite often it is the ear, nose, and throat doctors that find this specific tumor. But if you have balance problems and such, you're going to need a variety of physical therapists, and then you're also going to need an orthopedic doctor and speech therapists. And here's the fun part. Because it's rare, a whole lot of your local little average doctors may be quite baffled as to what they can do for you or should do for you. I can't make it clear enough. You need a specialist. If If you get hit with an acoustic neuroma, the best advice I can give you is do your research and find out who is your acoustic neuroma specialist in your area. Chances are there'll be a hospital or a clinic or a university or something like that, or somebody that like really specializes in this rare tumor. That's where you need to go. But today, it's been 4 years, well almost, this fall will be 4 years since this tumor was taken out of my head. And I wanted to get into the doctor that I thought and why was the most valuable to me out of that long list of doctors I've had to see as I've gone through this acoustic neuroma experience. I also feel a need to make it clear, if you're watching this video because you just got diagnosed with an acoustic neuroma, I want to make it very clear that a majority of people that deal with this tumor right now, in this time that we live in, are not left with as many issues as I have. They have come very, very far with this tumor and how they treat it, with the surgery and their understanding of it. And it's my understanding from my research, a majority of people come out of the operation, for example, with little to no issues. A majority, if they have issues, will have a little facial numbness or some facial paralysis, maybe some ringing in the ear. Deafness, I think, is the most common. There's a good chance if you got that tumor, you might go deaf. I think they told me 50-50 chance. My tumor was in there for a long time. It was very big and it destroyed everything here in regards to like balance, organ, hearing, everything in that ear area. But we're talking about the mental health part today. I promise you, I'm connecting this. So a little background on me. I have attempted to battle depression and anxiety for years. And a few years before I even found out that I had this stupid tumor in my head, I found myself in therapy after years of trying to ignore some pretty clear symptoms of depression. And I had a bunch of years where, I was kind of like living like a dog, swimming, trying to keep his head above water, go, go, go. And I had some private struggles, as we all do. And at some point for me, for whatever reason, it all became too much. Long story short, and this is not easy for me to share, I had some bad thoughts and even plans, and instead of acting on them, I decided to talk to someone. I decided to talk to someone because I live in a country where that's possible. It takes time, there's waiting lists and such. What I'm getting at is I talked to someone and I got help. I got real help. And for that I gotta say, thank you Germany. Danke Deutschland. That someone that helped me is my psychological therapist. I refer to him, just to be clear here, generally usually just as my therapist. So don't confuse that with physical therapist. Generally when I'm talking about my therapist, this is my guy. And over the years, he helped me to understand depression and anxiety. I just tried to ignore depression and anxiety. I didn't understand. I did not understand why my body was reacting in certain ways. He's really helped me understand why I do some things I do, why my body reacts in some ways, as well as like how to accept these things when they need to be accepted and work on them, deal with them. And honestly, I feel like after like a year or so of working with him, he got me to a really good point. Like I would say a stable point, if you will. And when I say stable, I mean no real bad thoughts or plans, and like I got a stable job. I felt like I was like starting to get my life together. I felt stronger, and like even though things weren't perfect, I felt like I could handle them. We were making clear progress in regards to my general depression and anxiety. And then one morning I woke up, and no matter what I did, I realized my balance wasn't right, and I was walking like a drunk lady. And nonetheless, as Armstrong usually did, I went to work and had an incident where I was like on a computer and a customer needed me, and I turned around and I lost it, and I stood there realizing something is not right. Like, I feel like I'm on a boat. Well, I couldn't ignore this, and I reluctantly went to my doctor and got an MRI, and on the MRI it showed what they thought was about a 2 centimeter sized tumor right back here. Spoiler alert, once they opened it up, my doctor was literally shocked. I'll never forget the look on his face when he said to me, "Frau Armstrong, I think that was in there for more like 10 years. Mine had built itself just around everything. Don't ignore symptoms, kids. The sooner you talk to a doctor, the better your chances are you can fix it and you can go on with your life. So what it comes down to is, for me, I was really shocked that after my tumor got removed, I felt worse. I felt worse than I did before I went in for that operation. Like I'm telling you, my first 3 days were nothing but migraine headaches, and balance was way wanky. My world was really going like this, like in a fun house. First 3 mornings when I woke up, my world was spinning, migraine, and I felt like I was going to vomit. What a great way to start the day. A lot of those things, they got better over time, but the vertigo and a lot of issues still remain. And if I'm just gonna keep it real with you folks, it really pissed me off that I found out that I faced my real battle once I started trying to seek help and information for all of these things I was dealing with after my operation. Instead of my battle being trying to get my body back and be able to live a normal life and not drool and look like a drunk lady constantly, my new battle became facing doctors that had little to no knowledge or interest about my tumor. Like, I say interest because they learned about this tumor at some point years ago, but now I'm sitting in front of them and they don't know what to do with me. And I'm sitting there thinking all you really got to do is look in Google like I did, or maybe one of your fancy pants medical books. I repeat, if you have this tumor, find specialists. So yeah, I'm just saying it was hard enough dealing with, I feel like I look like a drunk lady in public. My face is like hanging. Stuff is going in my eye because it wasn't closing, and I'm drooling. And I've got this really annoying ringing in my ear that makes me crazy. Constantly nauseous. Have a variety of head pains and sensations, so clearly I'm self-conscious. And if I'm honest, many moments of feeling flat out ugly and broken. It became quite overwhelming to handle all of those issues along with incompetent doctor issues that I had to fight and chase just to try to get help or information. It had to become a full-time job to just try to find places that could give me some answers. And quite often it all feels like too much. For real. And when it does, when it feels like too much, I am so thankful that I can go to my therapist. And he helps me sort through, yes, the emotions I'm going through and the thoughts I'm having, but my therapist has really given me real help. Like he's reached out and contacted, government offices and even doctors for me. But I mean, the reason I think out of all of the doctors needed when you have an acoustic neuroma, I think some sort of a psychological therapist should be in the top 3 of doctors you need, is because it's a lot to process, and it's a lot to accept. My therapist, we're still working on me accepting these disabilities. I feel like he's really helped me. But we're not there yet. I'm not fixed. I still have some really bad days where it just becomes too much. And I think it's important for me to say that and not hide it as much as I do, because there are other people out there having hard days, and I just want you to know you're not alone. It's the whole reason I started making these videos. I got a little bit bitter every time I looked on YouTube and was trying to find out information about issues I had, and it seemed like everybody I found was better off than me. And so I thought, I'm going to start making videos and talk about this long list of things I gotta deal with, and maybe they'll just add, if I can't help someone else, like I'm not a doctor, I can't really help, but I can talk about what I went through and let you know you're not alone. Because real frustrating about this tumor is it's a whole lot of wait and see. And typical Armstrong, I spent my first 1-2 years just thinking, hoping, looking for signs that this will improve and I'm gonna get better. But every improvement I've had personally in regards to this tumor has been incredibly slow moving. It takes time. And there's fallbacks. I have days where I think I feel good. Still a little head pain, still a little dizzy, but I feel good for me. And I can do stuff, and I can go out, and I can walk and enjoy being outside and moving around without being nauseous all the time. Those good days happen, but then comes a week where I'm in bed and I feel like I want to vomit every time my foot hits the floor, and I feel like gravity's trying to pull me down. It's frustrating. It's confusing. I start to question if I'm allowed to have hope. And again, I repeat, just for me personally, going through this whole acoustic neuroma journey, if you will, sometimes I went to my therapist and he doesn't give me some magic quick fix. There have definitely been some appointments where I just go there and I call it, I let the crazy out. I just start, the neurologist sucked and did this. I can't get my results from Aachen University. They won't send me my paperwork. Government offices making me run around. I feel like I can't do anything. I'm feeling worthless. I'm ugly. I just let it all out. And all I'm trying to say in this video here today is acoustic neuroma, stupid tumor or not. If you find yourself in a life situation where stuff is coming at you from all directions and you've got a pile of stuff that is just becoming too much, you need to take it to someone. You need to take it to someone and allow them to listen and maybe help you sort through it. And one can do this with, friends and family, but I personally think in this situation with a lot of health issues and such, a medical professional, somebody that has some knowledge about, health issues, but also how that industry works is very helpful. You see, I'm just saying, recently I read a comment from someone who was letting me know they were awaiting diagnosis or more information. They were right at the beginning of the whole acoustic neuroma news. And they mentioned to me that they were having a hard time, and every single thing this person wrote, I could relate with. They were talking about the not knowing and about all the possibilities of what could happen to them. Will my face change? Will I not have hearing? And they were going through all the phases I went through where you start reasoning with these disabilities before you even have them. I remember saying the same thing this person wrote in the comment, which was, I can handle being deaf in one ear. I said that many times, and you wrote it in the comment if you happen to be watching this video. But I also really felt for this person in the comment when they just talked about, questioning the quality of your life, disintegrating. Boy, I feel you on that fear. It's a valid fear. One of the wisest things a friend said to me as I was healing after this acoustic neuroma, and by healing, I mean I was trying to ignore that I was constantly dizzy and the other things that were going on, like the ringing and everything in my ear. And I tried to return to work, and I was just trying to get back to normal. And something that is not normal for me, not common for me, is me being open when I'm having a tough time and about me having a tough time. I'm not really good at asking for help. But I did open up with a friend. I can't remember what I said, but I'm pretty sure I was just expressing my frustration. I didn't understand why I wasn't getting back to normal yet. Like, I just kept going because I thought at any moment this dizziness is going to stop, and at any moment my brain will, and I'll be able to, I just wanted to get back to normal. And I had shared this frustration with this friend, and they gave me a hardcore truth that I needed to hear. And if I'm quite honest, when he said the words to me, I didn't like hearing them. But part of me knew he was right. He said to me I needed to maybe just stop trying to get back to normal and learn more about and accept my new normal. And as much as I really did not like hearing those words, I knew he was right and I needed to hear it. It was the beginning of me really facing that I may have disabilities now that stick with me forever. Thank you, by the way, Patrick. And see, this is the thing here. So as I stated earlier, it's really frustrating that after you have this tumor, there'll be some issues, and some may go away, some may not. This whole wait and see, that was really, really frustrating. It's still frustrating to me, I'm not gonna lie. And it, like, for me, it was like confusing because at the same time that a doctor wouldn't say to me, for example, oh, you should be feeling better in 2 years. I also didn't have a doctor like flat out saying to me, you will definitely have vertigo forever. And so Armstrong, I just wanted to I wanted to pick the path I wanted, which was I'm going to get better. It's just taking time. And I figured out, it took me a while, that's not necessarily healthy. And I'm just saying, whatever happens to you in life, a lot of things can be thrown at you in life. There is only so much you can do about some things. And it's really important that if you're faced with like a big life change, all of a sudden it throws at you some disability or something. I think based on my own experience, it's important to learn how to accept it and yourself. And I am still working on that. I want to make that very clear because that person in that comment also sort of insinuated that they thought I was doing really good or I'm in a good position. I appreciate hearing that. 20-some years of sales training and knowing how to always put on that happy face on that showroom floor when selling and talking to customers. It shows I still haven't lost that talent. Just want to make it clear, I'm only human and I'm not always doing great. But if I can say anything to anybody that is going through this stupid and rare tumor and you're frustrated and you're overwhelmed, I repeat, you are valid in feeling that way. Sometimes it can be a lot, and I cannot recommend to you enough to find somebody to talk to that you trust and that has knowledge about these things and can help you understand and work through all of the emotions and frustrations and feelings you are going to experience when life throws at you a bunch of different things. So yeah, and again, this tumor, it hits everybody differently. It seems like everybody comes out of it a little bit differently. Some come out of it with nothing. Some come out of it with little to no problems. And yeah, there are some like me that are kind of fighting for years after this stupid tumor. But I cannot say enough that I feel like out of all of the doctors I have had to and will continue to have to go and see and related to this stupid tumor and the things it did to me, for me personally, the most valuable is my therapist. And I really want to say, I don't want other people to be like me and make the mistakes that I made. I really was the type of person that for years just ignored symptoms of anything. I'm not sick was a sentence I threw around often. It took me way too many years to learn that it really, 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 really is important for you to take care of you. It's great and admirable when we want to be what we think of as good people and help others, but it took me years to learn that I needed to give myself, my body, and my brain the same respect I gave my friends and family. And your mental health, your mental well-being has an effect on so many other things. I really do appreciate you all listening to me babble, and I really do appreciate all of the support and love that you show me here on this channel. You're about to begin your journey and visits with a variety of doctors. I'm just saying, put a therapist on that list of doctors you want to visit. It can be very helpful to sort through everything. Just my opinion, and I appreciate you all listening to it. I hope to be coming at you again soon with another video, but until then, until we meet again, and this time I really mean it, take care of yourself.